All right, so far in the video series we've covered, we have pretty much handled these two blue sections of the minimal viable business. Okay, so we've already shown that we've got something that delivers the results. It actually has to work. We saw that in the last video, and we have this way to prove they'll get the result. That's going to be this image, this before and after image, so that they believe it will work for them. Now, in this video, I want to show you how that these proof elements we've created will actually also inform us on these other 5 sections of this minimum viable business. And that is this issue with we have to have a place to talk to, and it's our ability to start a conversation, and that deals with compliance as well. Your ability to actually be on a platform to talk to people, the right people, that deals with your ideal customer, who are able, means they have the money, which means the price is right for the segment of customers you're dealing with, and willing to buy means they're not opposed to buying a solution. I mean, we talked about DIY and people that associate themselves with not spending money, or being frugal or self-made, those kinds of things. And then lastly, it's a result, and it means that we know they have the problem and that they need a solution. So all of these issues will be dealt with by the type of proof that you pick. So that brings up the big question: which proof should you focus on? So you've made this tree, and you've now come up with these images, these doodles, if you will, these sketches of what you could show, what you've learned in this certain thing, your area you're focusing on. And the question becomes, which of these should you focus on? You don't want to focus on all of them because it will just water down the message, but you want to pick one of them to focus on, but which one? So you're going to ask yourself these 7 questions down here. They're very simple to understand. Let's just go through them quickly. First of all, how long will it take you to get the before and after proof photo? Okay, so this might seem like a strange question if you think about it, but really you're in the after state. So you have to go back. You can get the after state proof right now if you have the results. If you're at the place where you're using this just to plan for a future business, then you may not have the after state yet. You may know how to get it, but you may not have it yet. But most people probably, you're already in the after state and you have the screen showing the after proof, but you only remember what it was like before. So you have to create these images that are going to go on your sales letter or in an email or wherever you're going to put these. And the question is, how long will it take you to get the before and after proof photo? So let's just do a couple of these real quick here. So this stop drinking soda, let's say this is you in the after state, and you've got those spikes. Well, in order to get this picture, pretty much you would need to drink some soda. Maybe this would take a day, maybe this would take a week, but you would want to show these spikes, whatever's on the screen. You have to decide if you want to do that, but that's how you would get the before screen so that you would then show the after screen that you have now. In this one here, again, you'd have to start eating foods that are high in sugar again so that you could demonstrate this was before. Also, I should say on many of these apps, they have memories. You would just go back to a previous date, like choose a date selector, and you could find this in your app. So that's the nice thing about the apps and data today, is it's probably stored in there, and that's how you knew you got the result. But in the case where you're selling something where that's not the case, then you would need to obviously recreate to prove that this works. This one here, weightlifting, this is a good one to focus on because this would take a significant amount of time and may not even be feasible. If you were already in the after state and you're getting these nice post-meal numbers because you did weightlifting over the last year, it's going to be really challenging if you don't have a capture of that screen to show this before picture, right? Because you'd have to go back to that non-weightlifted state, right? So this one would be a challenge right away, and it may be one of the reasons that you don't actually focus on this one as one of your selling. This one, this one will be hard. It's just a chart of what you used to eat, what you eat now, and based on. And then lastly, this is the supplement one, which would be fairly quickly to do if you stopped taking the supplement and the numbers went back up, or if you had a screen again of memory. So that's the first question. How long will it take you to get the before and after proof photo? The second question is, how difficult or expensive will it be for you to get the before and after proof photo? And we kind of dealt with this also in the previous question, kind of deals with this a bit. But if one of these costs a lot of money to get the before, it would be very expensive or be very difficult, then you want to factor that into which one you choose. Next is, how long will it take a new customer to get their before and after proof photo? And obviously the after, they've got the before now, that's the state they're in, the problem state. But this is a big question, because if it's something like this weightlifting one here, right? I can show it to you, but if this takes a year to basically, it took a year of weightlifting weightlifting to get these, or 3 months or 6 months, then you know that the new customer that makes the purchase, it's going to take them 6 months too. If they followed through with it, it would take them 6 months to get this before and after. And this really is important, because if you sell something that takes a long time to get results, it's that much more likely that, one, they won't stick with it, and two, you then don't get feedback. You don't get people posting these before and after photos to prove that your product works. And so it's that. So imagine someone selling this proof here versus someone selling this vanadium supplement proof, where this was a situation where someone, like, they took the pill one night and the next morning they woke up with a lower number. So that person, from the time they purchased the product, say, a couple days of shipping, to they took the product that night and the next morning. So in under a week, you can have this proof photo. The customer can have this proof photo. Whereas in this proof here with the weightlifting, it could be months before they're able to create this same situation. Okay. Number 4, which result will have the biggest impact on your ideal customer? I'm not going to go through these for that, because you're probably not selling supplements for diabetics, but you can answer this question about your proof items. Which result would have the biggest impact on your ideal customer? The key being your ideal customer. Who are you going to serve? And then think about which one of these would have the biggest impact on their life. Number 5, which result is the hardest for them to figure out on their own? Now, this is important, because some of these really, they wouldn't be that hard. They're common knowledge. And a lot of different internet pages would have information about this. So you would go through and score your proof images for which would be the hardest for them to figure it out on their own, meaning they wouldn't need your product at all. They would just, they could go and figure it out and do it themselves without paying you. Number 6, which proof photos will raise the least skepticism? Okay. So if we look at these, if these are apps, these are fine. This one here is, kind of questionable, because you'd probably just be entering the data yourself in like Excel or something, or some app. And so people know that, anyone could do that. Anyone could say this was their breakfast before and say this was their breakfast after. And like, how is that really that? I mean, people are very skeptical. Remember, people are very cynical. Their AI especially has made people even more cynical than ever about, like, is this even a real photo? Is this real? So you need to think that way when you're creating when you're choosing which proof to focus on, because it's already exists. It's already out there. That's the way they're thinking. So which proof photos will raise the least skepticism? And then the last one is, which proof photos will have the fewest compliance issues? And you remember in our graph, we had this idea of you have to be able to start the conversation. Well, this would be a tough one, because this vanadium supplement, most likely it'll be fine. But anytime you're selling supplements, you do run into issues with, the laws around promoting health nutrition. So that one might be a question. There might be some platforms they wouldn't allow you to even promote supplements. So you'd have to think about where you're planning to get the traffic, like what is the place that you're going to talk to people, and think about compliance. So that might knock out this proof image here. It might not. But then you think about some of these others. Are there any compliance issues that you're going to run into? Because there's no point to go down the road only to find out, actually, the place where I go and talk to these people, where I hang out, the communities I'm in, I can't actually promote this proof, even though it's true. There's some, terms of service that they won't actually let me promote it. So that's the last one. Now, once you go through these 7 questions with your proof elements, you should have a really good idea. You should know this is the piece of proof. This is the one. It matches, it fulfills the requirements here, and it's going to have the biggest chance, the biggest opportunity of becoming successful. Now, here's one of the most exciting things. You're not throwing away any of this. Okay. So let's say that you decide to focus on this proof right here. So you're going to, in our little imaginary world, you're going to focus on this vanadium supplement. You're going to use this before and after picture. And that is what you're going to focus on after you've answered these questions. It looks the most promising. It looks like the one that will have the best chance of being successful. Okay. These other items can now become your lead magnets. They can become the way that you get traffic. They can become the way that you build your list. And so this is really exciting. You've probably heard the phrase when people talk about lead magnets, they'll say something like useful but incomplete. I don't know who originated that. It's been around for many, many years. But this idea, and it really always bugged me, because what a lot of people do is they kind of just tease. So if you've ever been on a webinar where they just kind of tease you the entire time, or a lead magnet where it just kind of teases you, but doesn't really give you anything tangible to work with, that's not what you're actually after. And I don't think that's what the original people who made up the idea of useful incomplete, I think it just turned into that. So what you do now is your entire product is focused around this proof element and this solution, and it's a real solution. It really gets results. But now you can create entire sections of your site or lead magnets around this proof element, and you can get the results for the people around this one. And you can do it around this one and this one and this one. So now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different angles, 4 different ways to attract an audience to your list, 4 different ways to get results for people. You can still use the before and after pictures just like you do. So you're still selling them. You're just selling them on information they're going to consume, and then you're going to get them the results. So imagine for a moment you have a lead magnet that deals with this drinking soda and what to replace instead. If you're drinking a lot of Coke, you can replace it with these drinks, and they're much better for you. And it actually delivers on the promise. And you have the before and after picture, and you actually show them, and they get that before and after result. And then there's another one about glycemic foods, low glycemic foods. There's another one about weightlifting and protein at breakfast. So you're delivering all this great content with these before and after pictures, and you're delivering the information, and you're getting them the result. And then you eventually, at some point and along this way, you actually point them to your sales letter that has the before and after picture of the Vanadium supplement. They've already gotten the results from your free information, which was really good because it was based on this concept here. And now you're offering them something for sale. They're much, much more likely to trust you. And at this point, you move up even higher on that proof power curve. You move up to that second from the top, which is they trust you and you've showed them the before and after results to prove that they'll get the results. So this is the highest point on the proof power curve. It's one step away from them personally getting the results. And at that point, they're 100% sure, almost 99% sure that indeed you know what you're talking about and you can get the results. So that's one way that you can use this other information that you don't focus on that's extremely powerful.